What is going on, guys? There's been a new vehicle added to GTA Online as part of trip fee content from the San Andreas Mercenaries DLC, and that is the Bravado Hotring Hellfire. It's added the week that we are celebrating the 10-year anniversary of GTA 5, which is just insane. In any case, this is a buying, customization, and review. If you enjoy this video, please drop a like and consider subscribing. Let's get right into it. So as always with these videos, let's start off where you can purchase this vehicle. There are currently 3 places where you can buy it. The first is from the in-game website on southernsanandreassuperautos.com. It is currently free for GTA Plus players until October 11th or through October 11th. You can also currently purchase this vehicle from the Premium Deluxe Motorsports showroom, and if you have GTA Plus, it will also be free. You'll just have to pay the difference for the livery that is applied to it. And the last place you can purchase this vehicle is from the Vinewood Car Club, and that is also for GTA Plus players only, and they can also claim it for free. So let's go ahead and purchase this vehicle. This vehicle is based off of a Dodge Challenger SRT TA2, essentially a muscle car, or in this case a Challenger that is built for track racing. This is the 3rd Hotring vehicle to be added into GTA Online alongside the Class A Hotring Sabre as well as the Karen Hotring Everon. Like the Class A Hotring Sabre, the trunk and hood can be opened alongside the doors, whereas on the Karen Hotring Everon, only the doors can be opened. You have a nice look at the engine as we saw there, as well as a little bit of the fuelage system in the back or the trunk area. Coming up here, as we're about to see with the interior, it is pretty much identical to the interiors on the other 2 Hotring vehicles. I would say definitely much closer to the Class A Hotring Sabre as far as the layout is concerned, but all pretty much the controls as well as the carbon fiber seats, that is all the same on all 3 vehicles. Also, like both other Hotring vehicles and pretty much all NASCAR or track related race cars, the headlights and taillights do not work. There are also no brake or backup lights. And one really cool feature on this vehicle is there are roof flaps that activate when hitting the brakes. Another cool, unique feature to this vehicle. I really liked how they added the top camera on the Karen Hotring Everon. Even though it's not active, it's still a cool, unique feature to that vehicle, and I definitely think they took it to the next level with this unique feature on this Hotring vehicle. So let's go ahead and check out the customization for this vehicle. What's super cool is out of all 3 Hotring vehicles, this is the only one that actually has some cosmetic changes that can be made to it. Starting off with aerials, we have a compact and Hotring aerial, very similar to something you'd see on the real-life version of this vehicle. There also is a front bumper option, a bolted splitter, also something you'd see on the real-life version of this vehicle, so that is very cool. And coming up here, another cool option is a chassis option to add trunk fins and even transparent trunk fins. And there also is a similar option for the roof, which you'll see here in a bit. The exhaust is on the side of this vehicle, just like the other 2 Hotring vehicles, and you can choose to make this a chrome exhaust, whereas with the other 2 vehicles, you're pretty much stuck with the stock exhaust. Something that is very interesting is the horn sound is different on all 3 Hotring vehicles, which is something you really wouldn't expect for vehicles that seem to have the same features all around. Moving on to the bulk of the customization on pretty much all the Hotring vehicles, there are 30 liveries that can be applied to this one, and what is cool is most of these liveries can also be applied to the Karen Hotring Everon as well as the Class A Hotring Sabre. However, their numbers are different, There also are a couple of them that have slightly different designs on them. For example, the Bank of Liberty has a little bit of a different design than the ones that are used or can be applied to the Karen Hotring Everon and the classic Hotring Saber. For example, the skull with the X on it, that is not seen on the liveries that can be applied to the other two Hotring vehicles. So that is super cool. Now, there are two liveries that this vehicle does not have that the other two Hotring vehicles do have. Both other Hotring vehicles have a Republican Space Rangers livery, which ironically, the number is the same for both vehicles. It's the only livery where that is the case, and the other livery that this vehicle does not have is the Coola times Sprunk livery that the classic Hotring Saber has, and that was given to players who logged in during the Sprunk vs. Coola event back in 2022. The 46 P's and Q's livery for this vehicle is available only for GTA Plus players until October 11th. However, the other two Hotring vehicles also have this same livery, just with a different number. The Ellis Air Force livery is only available on this Hotring vehicle and is definitely very fitting considering the theme of the San Andreas Mercenaries DLC that this vehicle is a part of. So super cool connection there.
Whatever you desire. Technology and budget permitting.
The Righteous Slaughter livery is only available on this vehicle and the classic Hotring Saber. It is not available on the Hotring Everon. I will say though, the look on the classic Hotring Saber, in my opinion, is definitely cooler than the look on this one. The Logger Light livery on this vehicle is a little different than the look on the other two. Almost gives me a Coors Light sort of vibe when looking at the design on the particular livery here. So definitely interesting there, kind of similar to the change that they made to the Bank of Liberty livery that we saw earlier. So super cool little design changes. I like when Rockstar does little things like that. Definitely adds to the game and the uniqueness. And speaking of little changes, the Aquila livery does not have the same bottles and logo that is seen on the other two Hotring vehicles, which is interesting because supposedly that logo was seen in the GTA 6 leaks. So not sure if there was a particular reason why they chose not to show that logo or even the bottles with that logo on this vehicle. Definitely very interesting, but it also has a particular design difference than the Aquila livery on the other two Hotring vehicles. And that's pretty much all I have to say regarding these liveries. This vehicle has two respray options, a primary color as well as a secondary color. The primary color pretty much controls the majority of the vehicle, the exterior as well as the interior, and the secondary color controls the roll cage, and that is pretty much about it. I definitely think it would have been cool to have some other secondary options, maybe like the hood, for example, although there would probably have to be some hood customization as well. But I am happy we did get some other aftermarket customization options that we could change to the appearance of this vehicle, because once again, the other two Hotring vehicles have none. So definitely a step in the right direction in terms of Hotring vehicles. There are two roof fin options, one being transparent roof fins, very similar to the fins that you could add to the chassis. Very cool. There are also spoilers you can add to this vehicle. The first two, the stock spoiler as well as the black spoiler, I think are the ones that look the most realistic in terms of the real life version of this vehicle. There are also some other cool spoiler options you can add to this vehicle, so very nice. You can once again add some other aftermarket customization options to this Hotring vehicle.
Stick to the
The tires on
script,
this
Jenna.
vehicle, as well as the other two Hot Ring ones, are pretty much the same as the Hot Ring Steely tires. They can be found under
They're
the street
bulletproof.
category. The only difference is when you customize the color of the Hot Ring Steely wheels, it changes the color of the entire rim. Whereas the stock color, although you can't change the color, is permanently red on the outer part of the rim. And lastly, for the window tinting, the windows that are tinted are the back window as well as the windows around the driver and passenger seat, the smaller
No
ones,
cosmetics,
both in the
huh?
front and the back. This is the same as the other two Hot Ring vehicles. And that pretty much does it for the customization of the Bravado Hot Ring Hellfire. So I wanted to share with you guys my personal customization for the Bravado Hot Ring Hellfire. I added the 3 redwood livery. For the resprays, I added a primary dew yellow. For the pearlescent black. For the secondary color, dew yellow. And for the other modifications, I added a compact aerial, bolted
Making
splitter,
decisions is stressful.
transparent trunk fins, chrome exhaust, transparent roof fins, as well as a black spoiler. Moving on to the performance part of this vehicle, for starters, this vehicle is in the sports car class. Now, it is a muscle car, but the purpose for it being in the sports car class is so it can compete with the other two Hot Ring vehicles. In terms of performance, there's 2 things you really want to look at, and that is top speed and lap time. And this would be more for competitive performance. In terms of top speed, the Karen Hot Ring Everon is still the fastest, with the Hellfire Hot Ring being in the middle, and the Classic Hot Ring Saber being the slowest. The speed is definitely a lot closer between the Karen Hot Ring Everon and the Hot Ring Hellfire, as opposed to the speed gap between the Hot Ring Saber and Hot Ring Hellfire. In terms of lap time, the Hot Ring Hellfire is the fastest. However, what's interesting about this vehicle is the grip is not tied to the aftermarket spoiler that you can apply to this vehicle, but rather the roof flaps. So technically, by you braking more, you're gaining more grip, which is different than most, if not all, other vehicles in GTA Online. The lap time is relatively close to the Hot Ring Saber. They're almost identical, or they're very close together, and the Karen Hot Ring Everon is the slowest in terms of lap time. I will say personally, I do enjoy the handling of the Hot Ring Hellfire the best, very closely to the Hot Ring Saber. Despite the Karen Hot Ring Everon being the fastest Hot Ring vehicle, I'm not a fan of the handling. I feel like it's very easy to spin out using that Hot Ring vehicle out of all 3 of them. So that is my personal preference. But if you want to know more about the competitive performance of these vehicles, I definitely recommend checking out Ruffy1322's video on the Bravado Hot Ring Hellfire. I'll leave his video at the end of this one. And lastly for this video, the review. Going back to the price, this vehicle is the 15th most expensive sports car, and now the most expensive Hot Ring vehicle. It also is currently free for GTA Plus players through October 11th. In terms of customization, it has the most out of all 3 Hot Ring vehicles, with having other aftermarket options besides just being able to change the resprays or add a livery. In terms of competitive performance, in this video I looked at it solely competing against the other 2 Hot Ring vehicles. In terms of other vehicles in the sports car class, it's definitely not going to be able to compete with the top ones in regular sports car races. For more stats on those, I highly recommend you checking out Ruffy1322's video. Again, I'll leave his at the end of this one. But in terms of competing with the other 2 Hot Ring vehicles, it is the second fastest in top speed, a couple miles per hour below the Hot Ring Everon, and is now the fastest in lap time. So overall, is it worth purchasing this vehicle? Of course, if you have GTA Plus, when this vehicle is free, which again is through October 11th, I think it's a no-brainer. Now, the other 2 Hot Ring vehicles are less expensive. The Hot Ring Everon being number 2 in terms of price. It does have a trade price. However, unless you have a friend to help you acquire it, I would recommend purchasing it just outright, which in terms of purchasing outright, it would actually be similarly priced to the Hot Ring Hellfire. The Classic Hot Ring Saber is the cheapest out of all three of the Hotring vehicles. In terms of performance, the Hotring Everon and the Hotring Hellfire definitely are arguably among the best in terms of their competitive stats, such as top speed and lap time when compared to the classic Hotring Saber. I would even say they balance themselves out with strengths and weaknesses. The Hotring Hellfire has the fastest lap time, however, it is due to braking, which could tend to slow you down more than help you in the race, and it also is a little bit slower than the Hotring Everon by a couple miles per hour. The Hotring Everon is the fastest out of all three of the Hotring vehicles, however it has the slowest lap time and arguably the worst handling out of all three of them. It is also worth mentioning you can only play 6 out of the 16 Hotring races with the two newer Hotring vehicles. The other 10 are locked to only the Class A Hotring Saber. Therefore, you could still enjoy pretty much all of these races with just the Class A Hotring Saber, and even be at a competitive advantage in the 10 that is locked only to the Saber. Additionally, if you want to have a competitive advantage in the other 6 Hotring races that do include the Hotring Everon and Hotring Hellfire, I would say either vehicle can work in those races and have a pretty fair and competitive advantage against each other. As I stated earlier, they both seem to have strengths and weaknesses that balance themselves out. So I would say it's up to you to choose which one you would want out of those two vehicles. And overall, I would say the main purpose of owning a Hotring vehicle is for those weeks that Rockstar makes the Hotring circuit races 2 times and sometimes even 3 times cash and RP, where if you perform well in those races during those weeks, you can earn a ton of cash and also rank up quite a bit. In any case, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and found it extremely beneficial. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, share it. As always, have a great day.